So I came across another one of these. It's a guitar that featured on one of my other videos. It's an Enya guitar, a Muri model, 418C. Nice, solid spruce, and of course mahogany back. I wanted to talk today about woods a little bit. This is the standard composition of an acoustic guitar. Spruce top, mahogany back and ribs. Is there an advantage of getting another composition combination? Depends on what you want. Spruce, very articulate, very definite. Cedar tends to be more pronounced in the lower registers, a little bit more bass boom. It grows in. And of course, an all mahogany guitar often gives you great mids, a very precise range, great definition, but it's not consistent across the board. It depends on the piece of spruce, the piece of cedar, the piece of mahogany. Now this is Engelmann spruce, which is a bit different from Sitka and other types of spruce. So you can't make sweeping epigrammatic statements about how wood behaves, because a lot depends upon the joinery, the kerfling, the bracing, how the wood's graduated, the thickness of the top. This one feels quite light. It's a solid top guitar that's graduated very well, so it's got a nice boomy sound even though it's spruce and not cedar. What about the backwood? Well, mahogany is cheaper and more available than rosewood. As you probably know, Brazilian rosewood has been banned for a number of years now, and other rosewood sources have also just been banned from the CITES declaration. Manufacturers are still farming it elsewhere. You're starting to see Madagascar, Indonesian, Indian, all kinds of sources for rosewoods other than what's banned. Rosewood's pretty. It tends to be more expensive on a back and ribs. But not always. There are some budget guitars that I find, and I've done quite a few videos on budget guitars that feature nice rosewood. It's just selling those guitars. If you try to sell it on eBay or anything, you get flagged now because of the stipulations on certain exotic hardwoods, and that's going to increase. I think you're going to start seeing that with ebony as well, which is ubiquitous in bowed string instruments. Almost all fingerboards, pegs, and often tailpieces and chin rests as well are made of ebony, and we're going to have to start using graphite, plastic, more other woods like boxwood, rosewood, until those disappear. Unfortunately, the hardwood industry has been hit hard. Occasionally you'll see a walnut back, a poplar back, a zebrawood or zebrawood back, or I think some people call it zebrano, and other hardwoods, Bubinga, you name it. There's all kinds of backs. The backwood is more for structural integrity. It is the wood that gives the instrument its structural integrity to withstand thousands of pounds of string pressure. Obviously, the backwood also gives you some sound, but not in the way a bowed string instrument with the sound post, which transfers the resonance from the spruce top to the back. Not in the same way. It's a slightly different reverberation design instrument. But there's nothing wrong with a good bit of mahogany or plain sapele. I tend to like these matte finished instruments. You know, they're sometimes called oil finish, or sometimes they're called natural open pore finish. You'll find all kinds of jargon around these, and some are better than others. Some of course are using just oil, and others are using some sort of thin varnish product, whether it's you know, French polish or a thin shellac base or something similar. There's lots of variations, so again, you can't make sweeping statements about one finish being better than the other. I tend to hear a lot more wood when I find a nice matte finish instrument, especially with a solid top like this. But it's not consistent. I mean, I've played some thick lacquer finished guitars that sound great too. So it's just a matter of playing them. But I wanted to address that because a lot of people, or not a lot, but a few people have asked, you know, what's the advantages of Spruce, Cedar, an all mahogany guitar, or, you know, should I be looking for a rosewood back guitar? Should I be looking for another exotic hardwood back guitar? Is plain sapele or mahogany not as good? Agathis, all these cheaper woods that, you know, you'll see on cheaper guitars. The wood composition has to do with the final part of the sound, but nothing like the fit and finish, the actual joinery of the guitar, the way the guitar is made. I've seen guitars made out of really cheap wood that sound great. I have a all linden classical guitar. Now normally linden is your Walmart guitars. It's your really fairly cheap stuff, and they make it look like spruce, and they make it look like rosewood in the back with various varnishing and stuff. And it's normally you know, sort of a cheap alternative wood to save money. But I have an example, and I think I showed it. It's the Handmade Classical by M. Cohen. It's all linden. Sounds absolutely fantastic because of it, the way it's graduated, the way it's put together, the composition, the fit and finish, the build of the guitar is such that the wood is working for the sound rather than against it. So there's just a little, a bit of an amble on my part on woods. I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff, and I think it's interesting when I hear other people talking about it. If you think differently, feel free to leave a comment. I read all the comments, and I enjoy when people present different opinions than my own, as long as they're nice. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.